Welcome back to the channel. Today we find ourselves at Eagles Canyon Raceway, hosted by Chin Track Days. Jake, what do we got in store today?
Well, we're going to take you through the process of how to participate in your own HPDE days, and Felix is going to compare a GT4 and a GT4 RS.
Yeah, so I'm going to put the GT4 and GT4RS through the paces. These cars are on different setups, but we're going to do a good comparison where we'll go into the details later, but my main objective for today is putting some flyers in both of our GT cars. Track is hot. Let me go crank some laps in these cars.
We know that tracking your car can be intimidating, so we're here to tell you what to expect and show you how to prepare to get the most out of high-performance driver education events. You made it to your first track day. You signed up on time, you got your car inspected, and you invested in all the proper safety equipment. Now you're here. What does that day look like? Just like in F1, NASCAR, World Racing League, you're gonna start.
Good morning, drivers! Good morning! Everyone, I want you to put yourself mentally in your car right now, because this is Chin Track Days here at Eagles Canyon. Y'all are about to go out there. We are going to turn it past 10, all the way to 11, y'all. We turn it all the way up. We love to run those fast-paced laps. You're going to encounter other vehicles on the track with you. You're going to have to play nicely with one another. Good point by is given.
Drivers meeting is there to tell you what to expect for the day and how to stay safe. The organization's learned a lot about that particular track, and they're going to give you as much information as they possibly can. After your drivers meeting, the track goes hot with familiarization laps. That's your opportunity to learn the layout of the track and identify where the corner stations are that are going to keep you safe while you're out there. Speaking of, it's time for me to go get familiar.
Just got off the track with the Cayman GT4s, and what can I say? I am super impressed. It's been 2.5 days of me trying to develop the car, making a little bit of changes to get it to kind of where I want to. I already know the direction I want to push it to get a little bit more lap time, but as of now, I was able to run a 2009, which at ECR is a really good time. Compared to a GT3 that I previously ran here on sticky tires, it's still about 4 seconds off pace, but it still feels great. I softened the front. By what I mean by soften is I softened the sway bar, so that gave me a little bit more front grip. It has a little bit of aero tweaks that I can do to the front, so I put it at max aero and I put a clip of wing on the rear. The car is on the stock Sport Cup 2 sizes, so it's a 245, 295. You know where that's gonna go? They're definitely gonna get bigger. Onto the yellow car, see what I can do in that thing.
Back, you're with Jake and Alvin. Alvin's here to talk to us a little bit about instructors, the variation of instructors, and the different organizations and what they preach to their instructors. So, Alvin, getting into your experience, first of all, how long have you been doing this?
I would say maybe like 2-3 years.
All right, so you've been doing this for a couple of years. That means you've encountered a lot of different instructors. Let's just get into some of the best instructors and what they do. So, what qualities set apart the best instructors from the rest?
They ask questions. They ask, what are your goals? What are you trying to work on? And it's like they try to get as much feedback from the driver as possible. And then they also say, you know, as they go around, as we drive around the track once, and then they start instructing. Okay, I noticed this. You know, I noticed at turn 1, you was a little slower. Turn 2, you was going off. So things like that.
Got it. So communication, I know it's a wide range. Everybody has different words and stuff like that. What's the importance of good communication coming from that right seat?
It's very important because it can be the difference. The difference is either you on the track or off the track. You know, I mean, just to be a little dramatic, but yeah, I mean, it's very important. And you don't want to gain bad habits, especially if you're new. You know, I mean, you want to try to get the best habits possible when you're behind that wheel as early as possible. You know, because then you have to relearn some things as you get in there with different instructors that may, you know, say a little, you know, that may suggest better ways to take turns, you know, acceleration and stuff.
So at this point in your HPDE career, you're solo qualified at a lot of tracks, some you're not. So you go from driving by yourself to then having an instructor in the seat. How does that, or does it change the approach you take at each session you're going out for?
It does. I like having an instructor because I like learning. I don't know everything. I will never know it all. So I like having an instructor. So they actually help me because I know I'm a little rough, you know, with the acceleration, with brake, you know, and they help me to maintain like, hey, smooth, squeeze, you know. So they help me to maintain myself because sometimes I get a little aggression when I'm by myself and I notice, and then I have to bring myself back down. So
that's great. How do you handle when you're out there for 20 to 30 minutes with somebody that you don't really think is able to teach you as much as a proper instructor? What are you still able to learn from that situation?
Well, we can always learn something from everyone, whether the instructor is up to par or not, right? So, I mean, I just try to take as much nuggets as possible. Still be respectful because, I mean, at the end of the day, they jumping in a car with a stranger and they don't even know it, you know. So, and they're working their hardest. Now, the thing, I mean, I have an advantage because I have a team here that I can go back and ask questions after my lap, you know. So I try to get a lot of feedback from you guys as well. But, you know, just be respectful, take what you can, you know, just keep moving.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate your time. Let's go do some practice and get ready to earn those red wristbands.
Yep, perfect.
Welcome, Tim. We got a couple questions about run groups for you and how the format at HPDEs work. So some people are intimidated. They think of a track day and they think, man, is it just a free-for-all? I'm going to be out there with people that are much faster than me, or I'm so fast, how do I get out there with the slow pokes? Talk to me about run groups and how that works in different organizations that you've seen.
Yeah, so certainly I'll start from maybe the PCA perspective, since that's where I started and that's where I spend a good bit of my time. In the PCA group, at COTA now we really run 4 different run groups. We have the novice group, which are people that have just started, never seen the track before. We want to give them the opportunity to get out and start developing the skills that are around braking, vision, cornering, interacting with other drivers while they're on the track, and then also understanding, you know, the flags and what's going on, how the events run. So this session's really about, you know, getting you up to speed, giving you those, some confidence about being on track, understanding how to interact with other cars on the track. And then once you've shown a proficiency there, you know, in the braking skills, cornering skills, consistency, the other thing a little bit is the psychological aspect. You know, we see something that's referred to as red mist, and the people that have red mist are ones that get a little extra attention. Sure. Because they can obviously create a different circumstance and environment for the people that are on track. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at the attitude as well. So when they've shown proficiency, then we'll do a check ride and have a second set of eyes look at that driver and run them in the run group that we're anticipating moving them to, which in the case of COTA would be the intermediate instructed run group. So you would still have an instructor, but now you're in with a bigger group of people that have a lot more experience and a much broader driving skill and car capability in that particular run group.
Wide range.
So that would be the intermediate instructed. We also run intermediate solo, so people that show proficiency as an instructed intermediate student then would be given a check ride to go into intermediate solo, where they run by themselves but in the same class. And then once they've really developed a good control and mastery of the driving on the track, then we'll give them an opportunity to move into the advanced run group. And at that point, we divide the run groups based on horsepower of the car. And it's really about the delta velocity, the speed differential going into a corner. You know, we don't like to have a GT2 RS with a Mazda Miata or something of that nature, where we're looking at 70 or 65 or 70 miles an hour delta V going into the corner. So we break it out by horsepower at that point. And again, that's another level of showing, you know, really good skill and the ability to manage your car all the way around the track, and to be able to manage on and offline, so in the passing zones. So.
I love it. Do you have any closing thoughts on run groups and how they work in HPDEs?
Well, other than the fact it's a promotion based on skill. So when you come in, I know that people want to say, you know, I go a certain number of, you know, I can turn a lap in a certain number of minutes and seconds, but it's not just about the lap time. It's also about your mastery of the car, your ability to interact with other people on the track, your recognition of the track operations, meaning flags. Mm-hmm. You know, flags are so important to the safety of the drivers. And when people miss flags, you might think it's a small thing, but if it happens to be the red flag and the red flag where you're coming into an event where there's safety workers coming out, then it's a very big thing. So all the flags we treat pretty seriously, and that's why in the promotion process, you've got to be able to show that you're not going to miss any flags.
That's beautiful. I think you've done a great job of highlighting how the danger can easily be avoided if you're just, you know, open to instruction and patient.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not an activity without risk, but the risk is very manageable when you operate within the guidelines that have been established.
Well, thank you for helping establish those guidelines, Tim. Take
Absolutely,
care.
yeah. Pleasure.
All right, we're here with Austin, the Viking self from Chin Track Days. He's here to let the novice drivers, the drivers that are new to HPDEs, know what they should expect when they come to one of their events.
Right, so as you mentioned, I'm Austin Viking self. I'll be the lead event manager or the lead Viking, however you'd like to approach me. I'm a full-time employee with Chin Track Days, event management. Chin Track Days has been running the highest level of high-performance drivers education events since 1999. We're on our 24th year. We've completed thousands of successful HPDE events at 17 to 18 different tracks all across the country. We love to see drivers with 0 days come in because we teach the fundamentals right from the beginning. We take drivers like Jake that have never been on track, bring them up, passing his blue group check ride this weekend, rock and roll, almost to the top tier. And we also accommodate NASCAR professionals, IMSA drivers, whatever skill level you got, you can be as good as Felix is and still drive with us. We still let people like Felix drive with us. He's awesome about it. The whole SAGA crew is amazing. Love to have y'all around. Getting into the hobby, absolutely crucial. Good attitude, helmet, and a properly prepared car will take you so far in your first days. You don't need to go out and buy a fully prepped GT4 Club Sport. You can buy a stock GT4 out of the factory. Leave it how it is. Leave the street tires on it. Take it out. See what it does. Learn from that experience and then build your car up from there. The worst thing you always see is a driver that has over-modified their car. It's ill-prepared, it's breaking down, you're working on it in the paddock, it's your first time at the track, and you're wasting your time sitting in the paddock. Why are you gonna do that? Get a really good base car. If you're a Chevy guy, the Camaro SS1LE, great package. Porsche, the GT4 718 Cayman, phenomenal. That's the cheat button. If you want to go fast, GT4 Cayman.
It doesn't really matter what car you start in, right? It's about the attitude. I think it is.
Absolutely. Right. And we provide instruction, instructors right seat in your car with you until we feel as though you're comfortable enough to go solo. 5 to 6 days is usually what we see out of our novices before they step up their game and get to that solo standard level where they don't have to have an instructor in the car. We carry around pro coaches to a lot of the tracks with us, so we're able to get that pro coaching driver modification, as we like to call it, back into the seat so you can keep building your skill levels.
I have a little question for you. What would be the first stepping stones to say someone who can't really afford coming to a huge event like this? Because this is very involved, right? Regarding price, and you gotta worry about tires, you gotta worry about brakes, you gotta worry about fluids. Just fuel sometimes is.
Yeah, exactly. The consumables are through the roof. Thusly, Miata driver, consumables are not through the roof.
Yeah.
But now, reeling back on that statement, karting, great way to start off. You know, you go to Coda Karts, MSR, Houston Kart, just getting the fundamentals down of the driving, the curbs, how the track flows, how the passing is. Simulators that have become very popular, and so many people have them and have access to them that it's another great learning tool. We will never solo qualify someone because they have 100 days on a simulator at Eagles Canyon and they've never been on track.
This only gives you the visual of where you're at. But it's a great tool to learn the track out, the track in, the apex, the fundamental terminologies. Ross Bentley has a bunch of great literature. If you'd like to find some definitions of what to look for in what your instructor is going to be telling you. Because if you don't know the definitions of what your instructor is trying to tell you, you're just going to hear something and you're going to say, huh? And then you have that terrible moment where you're looking away from the track wondering, what did he say as you're going off the track? But autocross is another great thing. If you have a basic car, you don't have to have anything special. You can go to an autocross event for less than $200, burn some rubber up, get that, okay, how does the car feel when I turn it all the way to the left, right? How does it feel when I get down to the ABS threshold of the brake pedal? It lets you know, like, the limits of the car without testing out on a track and spending a bunch of money to get onto the track itself. Obviously, pricing is different per track. You know, if novice pays $579 at Eagles Canyon, you're going to pay $1249 at Coda.
Yeah.
So we always recommend, like, the novices that are trying to do it on a budget, start off with like an Eagles Canyon event, see if you really like it. And then if you do, then you start looking at that Coda lap that everyone wants to get on, because everybody loves that Coda lap. ChinTrackDays.com has the access to all the track time you could ever dream of. If you just are ill prepared, don't worry, let the butterflies go. We got a qualified veteran local instructor ready for you for both days. You aren't going to have to see the change of instructors over again. They're going to sit there, debrief with you after every session, extract the most they can out of your time on track. We offer 3.5 hours of track time per day. So you're gonna get exhausted. It's a big mental exercise of focus and getting into it and staying in it. Driver development is exactly what we focus on at all of our events.
Where can we find you guys online?
So we're on social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, ChinTrackDays.com. It's actually Chin Track Days straight across on Instagram, and then Facebook, just search Chin Track Days, you'll find our main page. The more interactive page on our Facebook is a Chin Track Days drivers group. It's a nice little group we've set up, thousands of members in it. It's really interactive for the social media kind of postings, the videos, the pictures, bragging about your lap times, that kind of stuff. But for all registration purposes, as far as when you actually want to get onto one of our rosters, you need to visit our main page, ChinTrackDays.com. Every single Chin driver has to be a member of Chin. There's a $50 annual fee. That just keeps our records straight. That keeps us all our records good, so we know Jake passes blue check ride. We got documentation of that. Next time he comes back, he doesn't have to ask to go to blue. He just goes to blue. So you visit ChinTrackDays.com, join Chin Track Days, click that button. Send us a resume of your driving experience if you have any. If you don't, that's okay. Just let us know, hey, I'm the newest member, really looking forward to getting to an event. Our novices spots are very coveted. So if you are looking to get in as a new driver, you will have to see on the schedule page, it lists all the registration opening dates. So it's not just the track event date, it's the registration opening date coming soon. It'll usually be about 8-10 weeks before the event starts, and it always opens up at 8 p.m. Central on a Monday night. You need to be registering at 8 p.m. Central on that Monday night when it opens if you want your spot. And remember, the first driver gets a nice, pretty, shiny bottle of Stoner car care in the driver's meeting.
The greatest thing ever. Yeah, so please, we'll leave all the links down below. We love you guys.
We're wrapping up our Eagles Canyon event. Felix has done some hardcore comparisons between a GT4 and a GT4 RS. Tell us what you found, Felix.
Yeah, so after driving these cars for about 3 days, I did some changes to both of the cars. The GT4, we put that on stickier rubber. They call it the purple crack. People know what I'm talking about. So on the car, I decided to add a little bit more front tire just because the GT4s by nature, they'll understeer. So the car felt really balanced. When I'm talking about this car, I'm talking about the regular GT4. It felt pretty balanced. I was able to piece some clean laps. That car, the best I was able to do was a 2014. Compare that to the GT4 RS on street tires, the stock street tires that it came with, which for that car were the Cup 2s, was the lap time I was able to do was a 2009. So there's 4.5-5 between both cars. It's a really close comparison. The cars are $80,000 to $100,000 split. So I think the cars can both further develop with more additional changes, but
stockish for stockish. I think it's pretty amazing. So let us know down below if you think it's worth it, the difference of $80,000 or to $100,000 for 4 or 5 tenths. I thought I was pushing the cars pretty equally, so that's all I can say. I tried my best with both cars. 5 tenths, $80,000 difference. What do you think?
It's very surprising, but we'll see where it goes once we take the modifications to the next level and make them actually on par with each other. But you're going to have to stay tuned and find out for that. Thank you so much for joining us at Eagles Canyon Raceway. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. And
stay tuned for the next video.